Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where today I'm going to provide you with my thoughts on the recent community map test, and I'm going to provide Wargaming with my feedback on what I think needs to be tweaked and what can stay the same. So the game you're seeing here is the longest game I had when testing out this map, and this was one that I played very early on, and for whatever reason, I forgot that I was in a competitive game, and I just started driving around like I was there to just explore, and you see exactly what I mean by that in just a second. So I'm not even paying attention to where the enemy team might be. I'm just looking at the enormous crater in the ground. Spot a 477. I do absolutely nothing to try and, you know, fight back or anything, because I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just exploring, he won't shoot me. I get shot and I'm like, no, I'm still, oh right, okay. At this point I then think, oh actually no, this is a competitive game, isn't it? Alright, maybe I should start trying. I'll take my explorer hat off for the moment, and we'll try and explore as the game goes on. So the map has changed a fair bit. This enormous crater that we've got to my right, this used to be in the K0 corner. It's now more central in the map, which I like. That is a part of this map that I do very much like. I like the fact that this enormous depression in the ground creates a competitive perimeter, I want to say. You can't obviously go in there, but you can fight around the perimeter of this crater. Now I'm basically, for Era 3, I'm basically dead, but somehow I managed to stay alive for another, what, 10 minutes I think it is. But anyway, this corner of the map here, it's been sort of flipped around. The crater used to be here, and these rocky outcrops used to be further in towards the middle of the map, and I like that the map is now laid out like this. I think this is a far better layout for this map. I like the size of this map especially because that Leopard 2A5 isn't on the other side of the map. He's only about halfway across, and he's far enough away to be a difficult shot with an ATGM, and he's also far enough away for me to be able to put shots out and not be detected, which is quite nice. I don't have to keep thinking about running around to not get hit, basically. So this bottom corner here, I like this. I like that this is now a contestable area. The southeastern edge of the crater, but the southeastern edge of the crater beneath the cliffs it's not really a playable choke. It's a choke point for sure because you can't go left or right. It's not really a playable corridor though, because you're going to get sniped from the other side of the crater, which is exactly what happened to me a little earlier in this game. So you're going to have to play the high ground in the bottom right corner of the map a lot more than you're going to play the southern edge of the crater. I have used my speed and concealment to push this far down. The Leopard didn't spot me. That's a bot, I believe, which is why it's not... Is that a bot? No, it might be. I don't know. I can't remember. But this... I like the size of this map. I like the size of the playable area. I like the fact that, I want to say, 90 to 80% of this map is playable space. I like that. I like that they've gone with that. And I also like the fact that they've got these rocky outcrops, they've got these positions of high and low ground, you've got these positions of rock formations that are not, how do I want to put this, they're not predictably placed. It feels like a very natural layout to this map, and I like that. This bottom left corner, so at the moment, circling around, the top right spawn is where we started. We talked about the bottom right corner in the crater. The bottom left corner where the enemy spawn and cap is, that's an area that I don't quite feel the two caps are evenly balanced. I feel like the northeast cap is far more open, and I feel that the southwest cap is a lot more concealed. It's got more cover. So basically what I mean by this is, if you're going to cap the southwest, then you've got an easier time of staying hidden than you do in the northeast. That's my impression at the moment, and you'll see, because I've played multiple games on this map, and I've had to contest both caps, and at the end of this game you'll see what I mean about the ease of shooting into the northeast cap. But my experience has been that if someone is capping the southwest, you've got limited shots from D2, but that's about it. If you're capping the northeast cap, you've got shots from D2, B3, A4, A5, and not to mention you've also got shots from places like H9. So there's a lot of flexibility to shoot the northeast cap. I feel that the southwest cap it's a lot more covered. That's my impression. I feel the balance between the two needs to be tweaked ever so slightly. I don't have a problem. How want to put this? It would be nice if both caps were a little. It'd be nice if the southeast, was a little bit more like the northeast. That's how I feel, because if it's open, then it's a lot easier for tanks in Era 3. Anything with an ATGM or a fast reloading gun, it's very easy to get cap resets, and on a map this big, it's very tempting for teams to just think, oh, I'm not going to play the game. I'm just going to sit here on the cap and cap out. And if I've got to be on top of the cap to reset, I've got to cover an enormous distance to do that, and I don't want games that end in just caps. I want the caps to be a little bit more exposed, because I think capping should be, well, shouldn't be the priority. That shouldn't be the first thing people go for. Right. That's everything that I like about the eastern side of the map, the southern side of the map. Now I'm going to talk about the northwestern side of the top left. I don't know why, but I've really struggled to get my north, south, east and west in the right place. So I've got this flyover of the ravine that it stretches from E2 to A5. We'll call it that. It's got that. This entire corner of the map has this enormous stretch of it's a ravine essentially, and the vibe I get from this area is that it's not playable. It's not easily playable, because what happens is, if a tank enters at E2 and a tank enters at A5, that's probably, I don't know how far that is, that's probably a good 500, 600 meters. If two tanks enter at each end at the same time, they either have, you've got to go forward or back. You can't go left or right. And there's very little cover in this ravine because it is a straight shot from both ends. Now, the ravine that I have in mind that I would like to see here, not identical, but the idea is, and oh my goodness, I've forgotten the name of the map. It's Kasserine. That's the name of the map. That's what I couldn't remember. Kasserine. It has a ravine running down the middle of its map as well. But that ravine twists and turns. And even in the areas where there are relatively long lines of sight, relative to the size of the map, I mean, you've still got rocky outcrops to the left and right that you can hide behind. There are ways in and out of the ravine that are quite close together. They're close enough together to be usable, but they're far enough away to be a slight limiting factor. And what I feel about the ravine in the, I'm just going to say top left corner now because I'm getting all confused. The top left corner is, I feel it's too long, it's too straight, and it's too wide. Narrow it down a little bit, twist it around a little bit, have it go up and down, because Kasserine, when you actually go back and have a look at the ravine in Kasserine, there is actually vertical undulations in that, which mean that in certain positions you can be hull down, which again is quite a nice thing. If you can't turn left or right, it's nice to know that you've got the map knowledge to say, I can play this spot hull down, and that'll help me. That's what I'd like to see. So If that area can be tweaked a little bit, I would like that. And again, we've got the ocean area in the top left corner. I mean, it's not really an area of the map that anyone will play, anyone really goes to. So I don't know if you want to keep it there, Wargaming. If you're going to narrow down the ravine slightly, then maybe you could make the ocean bigger, put a beach in there or something. I don't know, but yeah, I think the top left corner of the map needs the most tweaking. Now, what I'm doing here is, this is an example of what I talked about earlier, where the lines of sight to the top right cap they feel better than the lines of sight to the bottom left cap. So I was playing A5. I'm now playing A4, and I'm now going to move to, I think I moved to B3, and in all three locations, admittedly, that guy is sitting on top of the rock, so maybe that's why my perception of this situation is that it's easier to shoot the top right than the bottom left. But I feel like from this position, I can still see a fair bit of that cap space. But again, maybe it's because he's sitting on top and he shouldn't be. But I missed that one. But again, it feels like there's a lot of flexibility to the top right cap from this position. And I have played the same position trying to shoot the bottom left cap. And it felt like there's more cover for the bottom left cap than there is the top right. And here what you're seeing me do is, I'm just at this point in time, I'm just experimenting with positions to see where can I go that will give me line of sight, where can I go that won't. And the next thing I'm going to mention now is, I'm going to have to relearn the time it takes to get around these maps, because this is a big map, and for whatever reason I put this ATGM out. I do reset this guy with, 17 seconds, so I've got a minute. So in my head I thought, I have enough time to get from where I am down the 2 line, across the F line, and I can reposition in, I don't know, F9. I thought I had enough time to get all the way around the map, but because this map is so big, and despite doing, you know, what we're doing, 90 kilometers an hour, I'm just not quick enough to cover that distance. And it's at this point that I realise I'm not going to have time to get all the way around, so I've got to hang a left when I get up this rise. So yes, sizes of the maps is going to impact the ability for tanks to get back to the cap, and that is something that players are going to have to consider when they do play this map live, and it is full players. You've got to give yourself more time to get around, and I didn't give myself enough time. They've only got 5 seconds left on the cap. I don't see them, and well, there's the MBT. Game over. So there you go. That is my take, and that is my feedback on the community map. I like it. One last thing before I go, lighting. I would like to have the same lighting as El Alamein, please, because I think that just makes the map even more beautiful than it already is. And why not, you know, lighting makes all the difference. Photos, videos, doesn't matter what it is, lighting makes all the difference. So there you go, Wargaming. That's my feedback on the community map. If you guys have enjoyed this video, please leave it a like, if not a dislike. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you in the next one.